Welcome to the story that can change the way you live your life and maybe the way you see yourself forever. Because today's story is not just about a boy, it is about chaos, pain, discipline, and a powerful moment when someone decides to stop waiting for life to improve and instead forces life to change. This is the story of Lucas, a boy whose life was completely out of control, until one day, he made a decision that most people are too afraid to make. He decided to organize his life, no matter how uncomfortable it felt. Lucas was known as the most careless person in his college. His room looked like a battlefield. Clothes were everywhere. Books were mixed with food wrappers. His phone was full of unfinished tasks, ignored reminders, and missed opportunities. His mind was just like his room, messy, tired, and confused. Every night, Lucas promised himself that tomorrow would be different, that tomorrow he would wake up early, clean his room, study seriously, and take control of his life. But every morning, he woke up late, checked his phone for an hour, and wasted another day. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Slowly, Lucas started losing something very important, his belief in himself. One afternoon, Lucas sat alone in his room, staring at the ceiling. He had just failed an important exam. His friends were moving forward, achieving things, building their future, while he felt stuck in the same place. He looked around his dirty room and felt something heavy in his chest. It was not just sadness. It was disappointment. He whispered to himself, "What is wrong with me?" For the first time, he didn't blame his teachers, his friends, or his situation. Deep inside, he knew the truth. His life was not a mess because of others. His life was a mess because he never forced himself to organize it. That night, something unusual happened. Lucas could not sleep. His mind was loud. He kept thinking about his future. He imagined himself 5 years later, still living the same way, still making excuses, still feeling like a failure. That thought scared him more than anything. He realized that if he didn't change now, he would never change. And in that painful moment of honesty, Lucas made a quiet but powerful decision. He said to himself, "I will organize my life. Not when I feel ready. Not when I feel motivated. I will do it even if I hate it." The next morning, Lucas did something he had never done before. He woke up early. His body felt heavy, and his mind begged him to go back to sleep. But he didn't listen. He forced himself to stand up. His first task was simple: clean his room. As he picked up the clothes from the floor, his mind kept saying, "This is useless. This won't change your life." But Lucas continued. He cleaned his desk. He threw away the trash. He arranged his books. It took 2 hours. When he finished, he looked around. His room was not perfect, but it was clean. And for the first time in months, his mind felt slightly calm. That small action created a small spark inside him. It was not motivation. It was something stronger. It was discipline. Lucas realized something important. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. From that day, Lucas created simple rules for himself. He would wake up early every day. He would plan his day before using his phone. He would finish his important tasks first. And he would never go to sleep with a messy room. The first week was painful. His old habits fought back. Some days, he failed. Some days, he wasted time again. But instead of giving up, he forced himself to continue. He understood that organizing his life was not a one-time action. It was a daily battle. Slowly, something started changing. His mind became clearer. He could focus better. He started understanding his studies. His confidence grew. His stress reduced. He was still the same person, but his organized life gave him a new identity. One evening, his friend Daniel visited his room. Daniel looked around in shock. "Is this your room?" he asked. Lucas smiled. That simple question meant everything. It was proof that he was no longer the same careless boy. But the biggest change was not outside. It was inside. Lucas no longer hated himself. He trusted himself. He knew that if he could control his habits, he could control his future. Months later, Lucas passed his exams with good marks. But more importantly, he had won something greater than marks. He had won control over his life. One night, Lucas sat on his bed and thought about his journey. He realized that organizing his life did not just clean his room. It cleaned his mind. It cleaned his fear. It cleaned his excuses. He understood a powerful truth. Your life will never become organized on its own. You must force it. You must do the hard things when you don't feel like doing them. You must show yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Lucas was not special. He did not have more talent than others. His success started the moment he stopped waiting and started forcing himself to live differently. Years later, Lucas became a successful man. People often asked him, "What was the turning point of your life?" Lucas always gave the same answer. "It was the day I cleaned my room when I didn't feel like it." Because that day, he didn't just organize his room. He organized his mind. He organized his habits. He organized his life. And that was the day his real life began. The truth is simple and maybe painful. Your future is hidden inside your daily habits. If your habits are messy, your life will be messy. If your habits are organized, your life will be powerful. And the most important lesson Lucas learned was this: you cannot wait for the perfect mood. You cannot wait for motivation. You must force yourself. Because the moment you force yourself to organize your life is the moment your life finally starts working for you instead of against you. But Lucas' journey did not become easy just because he cleaned his room and created a few rules. In fact, the real challenge started after the first excitement disappeared. After 2 weeks, the new routine started feeling normal, and normal quickly started feeling boring. One cold morning, Lucas woke up and stared at the ceiling. His alarm had been ringing for 5 minutes. His body felt heavy, and his mind started giving him old, familiar excuses. You worked hard these days. You deserve rest. One day won't matter. He lay there, thinking. This was the exact moment where his old life and his new life stood face to face. His old life was comfortable, careless, and familiar. His new life was uncomfortable, disciplined, and demanding. His heart was beating fast, not because of fear, but because he knew the small decision would shape his identity. Slowly, he sat up. His body didn't want to move, but he forced it. He whispered to himself, "If I lose this morning, I lose myself." That sentence became his weapon. He stood up, washed his face, and started his day. That morning, Lucas understood something most people never understand. Organizing your life is not about cleaning once or planning once. It is about winning these small invisible battles every single day. As weeks turned into months, Lucas began noticing changes he never expected. His mind became quieter. Earlier, his thoughts were always loud, full of worry, regret, and confusion. But now, his thoughts felt clearer. He could sit and study for longer without feeling restless. He could complete tasks without checking his phone every few minutes. He could make decisions faster. His organized life gave his brain space to breathe. One afternoon, while studying in the library, Lucas noticed something surprising. He was actually enjoying the process. Not because studying became easy, but because he was no longer fighting himself. His energy was no longer wasted on guilt and procrastination. It was focused on action. For the first time, he felt like the driver of his life, not the passenger. However, the world around him had not changed. His friends still wasted hours scrolling on their phones. They still laughed at his strict routine. One of his friends said, "Why are you living like an old man? Enjoy your life." Lucas smiled but said nothing. Deep inside, he knew something they didn't know. Discipline feels like punishment in the present, but it gives freedom in the future. And indiscipline feels like freedom in the present, but it creates punishment in the future. He was no longer living for temporary comfort. He was building permanent strength. One evening, Lucas faced another test. He received a message that he did not pass an important interview he had prepared for. His heart sunk. His hands felt cold. The old Lucas would have used this failure as an excuse to quit everything. He would have said, "What's the point? Nothing works for me." But this time was different. He allowed himself to feel the disappointment, but he did not allow himself to fall apart. He went back to his room. He looked around. His room was clean. His table was organized. His books were in place. This environment reminded him of the person he had become. He sat down and opened his notebook. Instead of writing excuses, he wrote one sentence. "I am not starting from zero. I am starting from experience." That night, Lucas did not escape his pain. He organized it. He turned it into fuel. Lucas also started organizing more than just his room and studies. He organized his time. He reduced meaningless activities. He started exercising every morning. Running became his meditation. Every step he took reminded him that progress is always uncomfortable. Some mornings, his legs hurt. Some mornings, he wanted to stop. But he remembered how far he had come. He remembered the messy room, the broken confidence, the endless excuses. He refused to go back to that person. His family also noticed the change. His mother once asked him, "What happened to you?" Lucas smiled and said, "I just got tired of disappointing myself." That answer carried years of pain and months of discipline. One of the most powerful changes happened inside his mind. Earlier, Lucas always waited to feel ready before doing something. But now, he understood a life-changing truth. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. He stopped asking himself, "Do I feel like doing this?" Instead, he asked, "Does this help my future?" That simple shift made him unstoppable. There were still bad days. There were still moments of weakness. Lucas was still human. But now, his bad days did not destroy his life. They were just small bumps, not the end of the road. Because he had built a system. And systems protect you when emotions fail you. One night, Lucas sat near his window, looking at the city lights. He remembered the boy he used to be. The boy who was full of dreams but controlled by laziness. The boy who wanted success but loved comfort more. He felt emotional, not because he was proud, but because he realized how easily his life could have gone in the wrong direction if he had not forced himself to change. He realized something very deep. Most people don't fail because they are not capable. They fail because they never learn to control themselves. They never learn to organize their habits. They wait for life to become easy. But life never becomes easy. You become strong. Years passed, and Lucas' life completely transformed. He achieved things he once thought were impossible. He built a career. He gained respect. He gained confidence. But he never forgot his real victory. His real victory was not his success. His real victory was the day he stopped being controlled by his own chaos. One day, a young student asked him, "What is the secret of your success?" Lucas smiled and said, "There is no secret. I just stopped negotiating with my excuses." The student looked confused. Lucas continued, "Your mind will always choose comfort. Your job is to choose discipline. Your mind will always choose distraction. Your job is to choose focus. And your mind will always try to keep your life messy. Your job is to organize it, even when you don't feel like it." He paused and then said the most important words. "The day you force yourself to organize your life is the day you prove to yourself that you are in control." That night, Lucas returned home and sat in his clean, quiet room. Everything looked simple, but everything carried meaning. This room was not just clean. It was a symbol. It was proof that change is possible. He realized that success did not come from one big decision. It came from thousands of small decisions. Waking up early, cleaning his room, finishing his tasks, keeping promises to himself. Lucas understood one final truth. Your life is not destroyed in one day. And your life is not fixed in one day. It is built or broken every single day by what you choose to do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. He closed his eyes and smiled peacefully. Because he was no longer afraid of his future. He had organized his habits. He had organized his mind. He had organized his life. And that was the moment Lucas truly became free. But Lucas' greatest test came on a very ordinary day. There was no exam, no interview, no emergency. Just a normal day filled with small choices. He woke up and felt tired. His body wanted rest. His mind wanted comfort. No one was watching him. No one would punish him if he broke his routine. For a moment, he sat on his bed and realized something important. The real battle of life is not fought when everyone is watching. It is fought when you are alone. It is fought in silence. It is fought in the moments where you decide who you really are. He stood up slowly and walked toward his desk. Everything was in its place. Clean. Organized. Peaceful. He touched the table gently, remembering the boy who once lived in chaos. That boy was still inside him, waiting for one weak moment to return. Lucas understood that discipline is not a one-time victory. It is a lifelong promise. He looked at himself in the mirror. His face looked the same, but his eyes were different. His eyes carried strength. Not the strength of muscles, but the strength of control. He whispered to himself, "I will not go back." Years ago, Lucas was a boy waiting for motivation. Now, he was a man creating action. Years ago, Lucas was controlled by his habits. Now, his habits were controlled by him. He finally understood the biggest truth of his life. Your life changes the moment you stop waiting for change and start forcing change. Because your future does not depend on your talent. It depends on your daily discipline. And discipline begins with one simple decision: to organize your life, even when it's hard. Lucas smiled, turned off the light, and went to sleep peacefully. Not because his life was perfect, but because his life was finally under his control. If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English and your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join this learning journey with us. And watch the next story on your screen to continue improving your English.